town of Kelso is located in a beautiful area of the Scottish borders, and it is here that the 1994 Scottish Championship took place. The venue was at Springwood Park, situated on the outskirts of Kelso and within walking distance of the town itself. One of the major improvements made for the 1994 event was to have the start and finish both at the venue. In addition, all the facilities were available on site at Springwood Park, such as camping, stabling, bars and food, trade stands, and all the social functions throughout the event. The ride itself was to take place on the Saturday and Sunday. On the Friday, though, many of the organisers and their helpers were already on site at Springwood Park, preparing the venue for the forthcoming competition.
I'll give you a list of runners.
Many people are unaware of the great deal of hard work and planning which is required to make a success of a major ride. The organising committee, comprising of enthusiastic volunteers from throughout the Scottish club, were responsible for this premier event and had worked tirelessly over the previous 12 months. Full catering facilities had been arranged and were all in preparation for the arrival of their first customer. Meanwhile, in the park itself, early arrivals were settling themselves and their horses into the routine for the competition. Springwood Park is a large, lovely open area, providing plenty of room for camping, stabling, and all the other facilities needed at such a major event. On Friday the 12th of August, the first briefing of the vets and officials took place within the main building, to ensure that all those people taking part in the organisation of the event were fully briefed on what was required. It was a time for people to get to know each other or to renew friendships from previous years. The initial introductions were undertaken by the coordinator of the event, Lindsay Wilson.
Mary Stelmach's got the vet hold, yes, and Leon Stelmach's on the ground jury, and also points of the course that we want attention paid to by the stewards. It might be an idea if, when you see them, if you
questions.
Are you really sure? Is everybody really sure that there's no silly wee things that you want to just clear?
To double check and clear if you're not sure of anything.
This meeting allowed the individual vets to speak in detail with their own assistants, who would work closely with them throughout the event, recording the vets' findings as they inspected each of the horses taking part. Meanwhile, out in the park, competitors were arriving in preparation for the first day of competition. Full stabling facilities had been provided within the park itself. It was time for adding those finishing touches to make the stay as comfortable as possible. Some of the competitors taking part brought their own temporary exercise paddocks. Others made use of the fence paddocks provided by the organisers. It was a time of activity, and there was a definite feeling of excitement in the air. Meanwhile, back in the main buildings, John Easton was briefing the other vets who were in attendance for the event. John was pointing out to his colleagues various areas of the course which were to prove strenuous for the horses, and where their assistance might well be necessary.
stretch. It's very steep. Right, that's for 50. That's for 50 miles. Or 30 miles.
Oh, 30.
In another part of the building, the vet stewards were also having their own meeting to ensure the smooth running of the vetting procedure, both before and during the ride, and of course after the event itself. By 5 p.m. on Friday the 12th of August, it was time for the vetting, farrier and tack inspection of classes 1 and 2 to begin within the vetting areas. Each of the horses were thoroughly checked over by the vets to ensure their fitness to take part in the 2 senior classes of the championship.
Tiny white patch the other side.
In a few cases, a number of horses were required to trot up on the concrete access drive to ensure their soundness.
Right. Vets. Right. Everyone down into our huddle. Right. Right, okay. We'll probably trot you up here.
Yeah, sure.
Through your action, that's all.
Right.
So I don't think it's related to these. Thank you.
Some of the horses appeared to have been affected by the excitement of the event.
Comment number 172, your time is up. Lovely trot.
Cassius Clay horse, that one. Looks like a butterfly, stings like a bee.
At 7:30 that Friday evening, all of the competitors and their crews gathered in the main building at Springwood Park for the detailed briefing for the forthcoming event. Here, any last-minute changes in the route and competitors' questions were fully answered and explained by members of the organising committee.
Right, near the bottom, that's fine, but it's not a problem for me, but most of these it is. Here's CP5 on the map, the easiest place to find it. That point okay? And it's actually the route that's going through the far north, and the checkpoint has been moved, I would say, 200 yards up the route, going north from where it is. Come and mark it on from this afterwards, it's quite plain on this map, okay?
John Easton took the opportunity again to explain the rules in some detail of the vet gates and the procedure for the competitor, the rider and the crew to follow.
The vet, and we would like people, the crews, to present clearly, hard up in the air, right at the gate, so that the timer can actually take the time. And at that point, the clock stops. You then get vetted, and if you pass, you go into the hold time. At that point, you will go into the post-hold area, and your crew can transfer stuff across. If you fail the vetting, you go back into the pre-hold area. Checkpoints are by arena and personnel only. There are no checkpoint stewards. And if you're away,
Saturday the 13th of August dawned beautifully clear and sunny, and at 7:45 a final check was made on the Class 1 horses who were about to commence 100 miles over the following 2 days. Meanwhile, back at the stables, horses and riders were preparing themselves for the other classes that were all due to start that day. These comprised of Class 2, 75 miles over 2 days, Class 3, a 50 miles gated ride, Class 5, 50 miles over 2 days, Class 6, the 30-mile novice competitive ride, and Class 7, the 30-mile open competitive ride. At 8 a.m, the Class 1 competitors left the main arena area to start on their 2 days across the hills of the Scottish borders. Back in the vetting enclosure, horses were continuing to be seen by the vets in preparation of their individual start times. At 8:45, the competitors taking part in the 50-mile gated ride, Class 3, were sent on their way by the official timekeeper. There can be little doubt that those competitors taking part in the 1994 Scottish Championships could not have asked for better scenery or better weather. The Scottish borders are a particularly beautiful part of Scotland, and the route had been specifically planned to take competitors through some of the most beautiful countryside in the region. The halfway point on the 50-mile circuit was at Pennymuir, and it was here where the horses were checked by the vets before being allowed to proceed further.
28 when they must present by.
Here we are seeing the competitors taking part in the 100-mile class spread over the 2 days, awaiting their vet check before proceeding further. Sadly, it was at this point that the vets decided that 2 of the horses taking part could not continue because of lameness. This was to leave just 2 competitors to continue in the 100-mile class competition.
We don't mind too much. It was nice coming and riding in Scotland. But I'm sorry we didn't get up the hills, because I really came to ride up the hills. I'm very pleased with him, really. He's had a good season this year, and at 17, well, perhaps he was pushing his luck a bit to come up to Scotland. But we've enjoyed the trip.
Out at the halfway point, she's lame on her near 4th foot, I think. The vet will let us know later on what it is. She was going really well. I mean, perhaps that was the trouble, just going too well. I don't know.
But not too many gates? Really good so far. And just hope to keep it steady and complete on the first day, and then we'll think about tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day, so get through today, that's the main thing. Keep it going.
Other competitors were now beginning to arrive at checkpoint 6, and the vetting area became a hive of activity. The course put together by the organising committee of the championship ensured that competitors would experience a wide variety of scenery and settings.
found it. Come on. Come on. It's rods in there, you get a jump in it.
By early afternoon, some of the early competitors and those taking part in shorter distance competitions were beginning to return to Kelso and the venue at Springwood Park.
Come on, well done.
141, 142.
Crossover.
3 o'clock exactly. 1500.
Careful.
Come on, folks, give us the gallop to the finish. Twins, Katrina Rowan on Link Kilo, number 140, Sarah Thomas on Trooper 139, well done. And this is the one we've been waiting for. This is the first finisher in the 50-mile gated ride. 187, Michelle Aldridge on White Cabool. Congratulations, first home.
For some competitors, this was the end of their competition. But for others, well, they had to do it all again the following day.
And another two in the 30-mile open, number 113, Linda Hanna on William Adios second, and 111, Marina Graham on Telstar, well done. Congratulations there to Jenny Jackson on Maybe Oliver, 194, first rider back in the 100 miles.
For those competitors taking part in Class 4 and Class 8, their competition had still to commence and was scheduled for the second day of competition on the Sunday.
Strongly finished there from number 112, Cheryl Wallace on Bellboy, and number 110, Robert Harvey on Applequay Bay.
Straight over here, Pat.
Well done, Nora. Nora Ridley on Major, first stage, the 100 miles, the second day.
During the vetting of the two remaining riders in Class 1, sadly Jenny Jackson's horse, Maybe Oliver, was vetted out lame. By the end of this day, just one competitor, number 196, Nora Ridley, was left in the 100-mile competition.
Right, thank you. 3 races tomorrow left, and you're just left in it, so what are your thoughts now?
We just passed the vetting, which was nice. We've got through okay. So we just keep our fingers crossed, as I say. We take a day by day. So the next thing is look after the horse, make sure he's got 4 legs for tomorrow for the start. And it's going to be a long ride, but on our own. But keep our fingers crossed. That's all we can hope for.
I guess we could do this now. Stand pit, like to keep all the weight on it.
Sunday the 14th of August again dawned beautiful and clear, And with the sun shining, Nora trotted Major in front of the vets and was cleared again to start competition on the second day of riding. On that Sunday again, Class 1, Class 2 and Class 5 was continuing. But there were 2 additional classes for that day. Class 4, the 40-mile competitive ride, and Class 8, the 20-mile open competitive ride. On both days of the competition there was also pleasure rides, Classes 9 and 10, for those horses and riders new to the sport of endurance riding. Once again, the riders and their crews could enjoy the beautiful Scottish borders in glorious sunshine. At many places throughout the course, the horses and riders were met by their crews. This is most important for those horses which are undertaking longer distances, so that they can be adequately watered and washed down to keep them fresh and better able to continue.
Everything's gone horribly wrong.
Throughout this second day of competition, Nora Ridley and her Anglo-Arab horse called Major had been covering the second stage of the 100-mile course. Wherever possible, she'd been able to ride with other competitors, whose own competition meant that they rode part of the 50-mile course itself. Towards the end of the competition, Nora was completely on her own. There was very little time left for her to complete the competition. As she finally came into the venue with just minutes to spare, she was helped along by all of the people who had gathered together to welcome her home. Just in time, the time limit set for her competition, she completed the 100-mile course.
Come on, Nora. Get this horse and go into the back.
It was now just a question of whether or not Major would be passed fit by the vets. In the period between completing the ride and the vetting time, Nora's crew worked feverishly on Major to cool him down prior to his vetting.
One there, Sheila.
Good kick up the backside.
With just Nora's horse left to be looked at, the vets held their final meeting, and outside, Nora was able to take some rest. How's it gone today on your own?
Well, when I first went out today, it was really quite hard. He didn't like leaving everybody behind, and he was sort of slow, waiting for his friends to catch up. And of course, nobody did. And we got to the hills. I feel like Granny Much and all this. I got to the hills, and eventually 2 40-milers arrived, and they were tremendous. And we got sort of carried along for a while, and then we got to the vet gate, and I thought, right, if I actually get through the 25 miles a day, which is officially the 75, I thought great. That's what I was aiming for. But to get through and complete it, I mean, everybody's been fantastic. There's a lot of support, and it's been great. Absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Finally, it was time for Major to be vetted, and in front of a considerable crowd of people, John Easton commenced the task.
Thanks, no wonder. That's the last trot today, okay?
As John's inspection drew to a close, everybody waited for his decision. Lost in amongst the crowd, Nora sat and waited.
Well done. Congratulations.
She had done it, and it was time for celebration. And Major seemed to be the only one not wanting to have a taste of the champagne that was on offer.
It's horrible stuff, isn't it, son? You don't want that. Quite right.
It's fantastic. I'll never forget the feeling coming in at the end and all the cheering. I think that's something I'll never forget. He's a fantastic horse, and couldn't do without him.
Officially, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Sorry, welcome to the Scottish Endurance Riding Championship 1994 prize giving and presentation.
At 9 p.m. on Sunday, the 14th of August, the last day of the event, it was time for the prize-giving awards ceremony to begin. With the awards to be presented by Tom Cassidy, the chairman of the Scottish Endurance Riding Club.
Welcome to the World Championships, and I thank you all for attending because of you here, we couldn't have the championships. But behind the championships, we have a great deal of work involved by the great men and people. I'd like to mention one person just now, which I've been asked to do, was the tail rider who just came in off the course 5 minutes ago.
There was an immense number of awards to be given, and the overall presentation took some time.
Lindsay Duncan, the horse's Snap from the Lothian branch, gains silver. Cheryl Wallace with Del Boy from Glasgow branch gets silver. Anne Bell with Forex, Lothian branch silver. Good. That apparently means friend in Russia. Trevor Bryant, Nightingale from Lothian branch and silver. And it is Linda Hanna with William Adios II, Grampian and gold. Linda also gets the country and distance rider subscription, saddle soap and leather food from Coldcraft, a first aid kit, tackle and tack, a feed coat supplement, a £7 Burgess voucher, candy cameraman with White Trooper, Highland branch, also Best Condition Award, the Pascal Trophy, together with a Britac Bridal voucher, Karma Gold Plus, an energy rehydrating drink for the rider and athletes, Cub Millibat all-round horse supplement, a Western blanket donated by Deepwater Equestrian, and a Euro Skull voucher donated by a champion, and a Gophers Prize again donated by Eric. I think really what we have to say about this is, I wasn't here last year, but I've heard all about it.
Perhaps the highlight of the overall prize-giving ceremony was the presentation made to Nora Ridley. Her crew, and of course to her horse, Major, the winner of the 100-mile class at the 1994 Championships.
Last year with Eileen Baxter and Phaedra. I'm sure everybody's heard about the saga that's gone on this year, but we'll just recap it that, you know, this particular person, she didn't just do this. Last year somebody had to do the second day on their own. This year they did the second day on their own, but they didn't just do that, they also did it with stitches in their head. So whoever's thinking of doing it next year, I'd be very well. I've got a bit of a note here that and I should read this out. After this was the rider's first attempt at a 100-mile ride, and in fact the lady concerned and her horse had never done more than 50 miles in a day before this. The horse is 14 years old, it's a part-bred Arab, which was bought as a 2-year-old. A tiny little horse, but always managed to look superb at the end of the ride. I think we all thought that today. This goes on for yonks, really, doesn't it? But I've done the bit about the walk. And, yes, there's a little bit here which many people may not know. And that is, there's 2 halves to every team, as we know in this. And I'm told here that the other half of the team is somebody called Dick Vital Spark Inkster. And that particular gentleman and the lady concerned were brought together through endurance riding. Well, I've heard it called some funny things, but not a dating agency. But when the Lothian branch was formed 3 years ago, they became an item, as it says here. And a rumour has it that it was through 2-day riding. Anyway, little plug for the mobile welding unit, and the name The Vital Spark apparently has been put to this team. So we've been all the way through it, haven't we, really? But what we have to say is the award goes to Nora Ridley and the wonderful Major.
With the perfect weather and the wonderful facilities at Springwood Park, the event had been a complete success. There would be so many memories to take home from the 1994 Championships. But perhaps one that would remain in everybody's mind will be that moment when Nora Ridley and her horse Major came into the venue at the end of the competition, having completed a large part of the final 50 miles, all on her own.